Welcome to Fun and Fundraising, everybody, the podcast where we talk with people behind top nonprofit galas and signature fundraising events to showcase how they positively transform their communities. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, and today I'm really excited to have two very special and very fun guests on. So we have Caitlyn Butler and Madeline Meyer, and they are the co-chairs for a wonderful event in Austin called Twilight on the Trail, and it benefits the Trail Conservancy. So anyone who has gone on the Butler Trail, whether you're in Austin or from beyond and you've come here, basically the proceeds from this allow you to enjoy that wonderful space and the conservation of it in a space that really does help make Austin unique and special in so many ways. So this will be a fun event to talk about. We'll talk about a lot of fun things and putting on a great event. And with that, Caitlyn, Madeline, welcome. And I'm so excited to have you both here as guests today.
Thank you so much, Rob. We're excited to be here.
And
Yes, thanks, Rob.
I'm thrilled to have you both. And I want to direct the first question to Caitlyn. Talk a little bit about what the mission of the Trail Conservancy is.
Yeah, of course. So the gist of the Trail Conservancy is dedicated to protecting, enhancing, and connecting the Ann and Roy Butler Hike and Bike Trail. So we call it TTC, the Trail Conservancy, or it's our little acronym for it. But they really want to preserve the nature, improve infrastructure, and a little bit of history there. The Trail Conservancy was actually formed in 2003 as the Town Lake Foundation, and it just was a more formal organization that continues to improve on what the citizens were doing to make the trail what it is today. And something that Madeline and I are really passionate and want to make sure that everyone knows is that the Butler Trail is actually privately funded. So a lot of people might think, our tax dollars go there. And yes, the city does help with trash and things along those lines, but it's really for the community, by the community, and it takes all of us together, private donors, the Trail Conservancy, to really make it the amazing asset that it is. And it's getting over 5 million visitors a year, which is more than the Grand Canyon. So crazy.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that many people.
Yeah.
And it's such it really is an iconic part of Austin, that trail. And really, it is one of the two or three things that people ask me, from other cities, what makes Austin special? The trail is usually one of the two or three things I'll consistently bring up because it is so unique and it's so uniquely Austin.
It
Absolutely.
sure is. With the outdoors that Austin lends itself, it's just super natural for everybody in the community to use.
And what is
Absolutely.
cool is the Butlers have old photos of Austin before all of the vegetation was there. And Anna Caitlin showed some of them to me, and it's such an impactful photo because you realize how much sun exposure would have been on the trail. It's basically all you would see is buildings and skyscrapers, and it makes such a difference to the Austin skyline to have this beautiful green space that kind of protects everyone who walks on the trail.
Absolutely. And, for anyone that likes to run a lot during the year,
Yeah.
you have those trees in the middle of the summer, and that makes no one would be out there running without those trees. Absolutely. So I want to hear about how each of you got involved with the organization. And Madeline, I'd like for you to go first. Talk a little bit about how you got involved with this organization.
Yeah, so one of the committee members reached out to me and asked if I had interest in being involved. And of course, I was happy to join. I'm a big trail user. And I also do fundraising full time, but for private equity and venture capital. So it was kind of a fun way to use my skill set from work in a nonprofit capacity. And I've always been involved in different nonprofits. My husband and I moved from the Bay Area a little over 3 years ago and was involved in nonprofits over there. So it was super exciting and an easy yes as soon as someone asked me to be involved with the trail.
That's fantastic. And, I'd love to ask one follow-up question, if I may. What's the
Yeah.
difference in terms of fundraising, like for a nonprofit versus raising, capital for-profit projects?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's such an emotional tie on the nonprofit side, which is such a special part of it. On the VC and PE side, it's a lot. People are trying to hit investment goals, like maybe IRR returns and things. And it's not much emotional attachment to that. They're just kind of trying to maybe generate income or preserve wealth. Where this, the trail is so special to so many people. And some people really want to give in a big way, which is so exciting because maybe it changed their life in some way or impacts their life in some positive way. And it's so special fundraising for nonprofits. I love it.
That's amazing. And it just goes to show, there's definitely different appeals to different things. So I'm really glad that you explained that and really the difference between the two, because it's an important thing for people to note when they're fundraising, especially if they're a for-profit person looking to
Hmm.
join a nonprofit board. It's just it's done in a different way. So it's important to
Absolutely.
highlight that. And Anna Caitlin, I'd love for you to share because I know you probably have an interesting backstory with how you got involved with the trail. So I want to hear definitely a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. And just to echo what Madeline was saying, I mean, I don't think the Trail Conservancy could be any luckier to have someone who does fundraising professionally. It's like all nonprofits should go seek out someone who does it professionally and have them as at least one of the co-chairs because I think that gives us one of our biggest legs up because just it's natural for Madeline, right? And then it
Absolutely.
makes it even more natural that she also genuinely cares about it. But a little bit of background about how I got involved. Um, I was going to the event with my husband, Grant Butler. His grandparents helped found the trail with Lady Bird Johnson. And so we were attending the event, and a great friend of ours, Kelly Fry, walked up to me and she was like, "Oh, Anna Caitlin and Grant Butler, like Butler, like the trail." And we were like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, why aren't you involved?" And we just from that point on we got super involved. We were getting married my first year of being on the committee, so I wasn't quite as hands-on, but the group of girls is truly amazing group of people. I have found my friends through the trail. I mean, it can be any more special to me. So that's just a little bit of background.
That's fantastic. And bravo to Kelly Fry. And Kelly's an amazing person. I've known her for several years and she's just, she's fantastic as well. But good for her for connecting the dots and just asking a simple question
Oh, yeah,
and your relationship just forming from there. And that really shows the importance of, getting people involved that are not afraid to ask questions,
for
even if
sure.
they're obvious, it's just it's a really important good thing. So I'm really glad that you shared that story and how a simple conversation can lead to deep involvement with an organization.
Yeah, and Kelly's really a visionary. I mean, I think she kind of helped form the committee, so it was newer. And that's one thing that's special for Madeline and I is because we kind of see it as a little bit of like a baby, and we're like helping it get to its teenage years and adult years. So it's really fun to kind of be in the beginning process. And I would just encourage anyone to just ask people in their community if they want to get involved because people want to help.
Absolutely. And then speaking of community, few things bring a whole community together like a green space. And Anna Caitlin, I'd love for you to talk about the importance of green spaces, especially in urban or downtown areas.
Yeah, it's absolutely so important. I mean, we when you're in New York, it's obviously a special city, but when you're in Austin, you feel so grounded, and that's what you hear continually. You feel grounded by the green spaces that we have, and in my opinion, the trail is the most iconic and important one. And I think Madeline mentioned earlier that when you look at pictures from what the trail was, it was just a lake with no trees. And it's actually my husband's father was telling me it's where people used to dump garbage into the lake. So
Yeah.
it was like a dumping ground and there were no
Wow.
trees and there was nothing. And it's a really special story about how essentially the trail started, but Ann Butler and Lady Bird Johnson, they were absolutely best friends and they were in London together and they were looking out over the Thames. And they saw all these people enjoying the walk, this beautiful walk. And they said, why don't we have that in Austin? And then, unlike most people, they truly came back and they brought it to Austin and they actually got us a green space and they got garden clubs and all sorts of just community people involved to start planting trees. And then that's what eventually rolled into the Trail Conservancy.
Wow. And over 5 decades, you can just see how it's transformed along with the city. And in a lot of ways, the transformation of Lady Bird Lake echoes the transformation of Austin as a city. Like it's a really good physical representation of what that is.
Yeah, it's amazing. You see all the turtles and the trees, and it's just a special place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Madeline, I want to direct the next question to you. So, talk about how the fundraising gala, Twilight on the Trail, helps the Trail Conservancy execute its strategic plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's so many different initiatives that the Trail Conservancy has going on at once that I don't even think I fully appreciated when I joined. I encourage anyone in Austin to go on their website and look at all the different projects, and it's amazing. Big props to the team for being able to balance even half of those. It's a very long list of projects because it is a 12-mile loop around all of Lady Bird Lake. So there's bridges being built, all kinds of different things. But Twilight on the Trail is I think one of the biggest revenue generators for the trail all year long. So it's super important for them and definitely part of them being able to hit that strategic plan every year is bringing in the funds for that. So whether it's infrastructure projects like the new bridges or ecological projects, all of those things factor into that strategic plan. So it's important for us and, puts a little pressure on because we want to make sure that it's successful, so that they can kind of achieve their goals every year and they aren't um, in a rush towards the end of the year after that ends.
And to
Absolutely.
add to
Oh,
add one thing to that is I think Madeline and I, from last year to this year, we really wanted to start fundraising earlier, which is why we
Hmm.
started doing the happy hours, which was great insight by Madeline, just with that corporate mind. She was like, we're asking people to give. They've already they've already given their corporate budgets by Q4, which is when our gala is. So this year, starting earlier and already bringing revenue into the Trail Conservancy actually allows them to plan better for some of these ecological or building or even their arts program. I mean, there's so many different programs, like Madeline says, that they have in Stewart. So having the fundraising earlier in the year has been key.
absolutely. And Madeline, I'd love for you both to chime in on this, but talk about because you all do probably better than just about any organization I've ever seen, certainly in Austin. In terms of using events like smaller kind of intimate cocktail parties to really get people involved and invested in the organization and getting people to buy tickets or tables or become a corporate sponsor. So, Mado, I'd love for you to chime in first since you're the one who brought it up to me when we were chatting last night. And no, people, this was not a podcast on the fly. We already had it planned. It was just one of those things that spontaneously came up in a bed. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about that. And then Anna Caitlin, I'd love for you to chime in a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important to build a community around anything that you do. And the trail already had such an incredible community, and we just wanted to build on top of that. And so we started last year when I was on, my co-chaired last year as well. And it's amazing when you ask if folks want to get involved and donate space. Companies and individuals are so willing to do that in Austin because so many people have that connection to the trail. So we've luckily had amazing organizations and individuals donate their homes, donate their workspaces to put these cocktail hours together. And the reason we want to do it is because it's so important to kind of establish that community and want people to really feel like they're a part of the trail before we're just asking them for a table. It's never a great feeling to only be emailing someone when you're asking for them to purchase a table. Obviously, it's a big ask, and a lot of companies, they might have to go through a couple steps in order to be able to do that. And sometimes the timing just isn't right for people. So this just feels like such a great way to do that. The Kitchen, which is Kimball Musk's new restaurant, was kind enough to volunteer their space to us earlier this year, and we did a big kickoff event there, and that was super successful. And then you're kind of selling tables by not even asking, which is the easiest way to sell them. Off of that event, we had a bunch of people purchase their tables. And the same thing for the event the happy hour we did last night. We have sold almost half the tables, or actually more than half the tables already, just by kind of doing soft outreach and doing these two events.
I love that. And Anna Caitlin, I love your take on it, but I'd also love your take, like as a chair, how you use these events to just connect with new people new to the organization.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you truly meet so many wonderful people. And I think that's a really important part about any philanthropy. I mean, Madeline and I both have a background being involved in other uh, sectors of philanthropy that are near and dear to our heart. And it's just a really interesting experience to be around other people that care about the same thing as you from a different age group or business perspective. So that's why the happy hours are almost like magical. Every time we do them, you meet someone new, you meet a new friend, you introduce people, and you're all there because you care about the same thing. And that can be anything, right? So it's a special thing to do. And we feel super fortunate to have had such great success in doing
Abs
those.
Absolutely. I mean, and they are highly successful. I've had the good fortune of being to several of them, and yeah, they're each really well done, but they're all very unique from one another. So I don't feel like I'm going to the same thing. Like you
Yeah.
offer very different experiences from one to the other. It's really cool.
And that's our goal.
Well, you succeed. And, in addition to bringing in new people, what I do appreciate about Twilight on the Trail, and I've gone for several years now, is you're really good at bringing in new faces, but you've also got that core group of supporters. So, Madeline,
Mhm.
what's the secret to having a devoted following for a signature fundraising event?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think first creating a unique experience for everyone. So we're fortunate enough to use the Four Seasons space every year. It is right on the trail. It feels like, you're in a forest almost. They have those incredible live oak trees with the strung lights on them. And it's such a different experience than many of the other galas that you would typically go to. And also the programming, we work really hard on the programming. We try to have great speakers and just something that people look forward to. And that's also silent auction, live auction, all of those different things. And I think that sticks in people's minds. So when you want this devoted following to an event, they're like, oh, of course, I want to go to Twilight again. We had such a good time. We won a trip somewhere. We got this, we got that. So I think um, kind of really creating an experience that stands out in people's heads. And then also that community connection that we were just talking about. Like this year, I think when people are attending, they're gonna know half the people there, which is honestly my goal. My goal is for everyone to honestly know each other that's at the gala. So they are almost expecting to, see their friends there or see like a new person they met at the happy hour there. And I want it to just become this. Um, an event that people really like feel like they're part of the community when they're there, and then that's just kind of the marquee event of the year.
Absolutely. And that you feel it long beyond that night because you can feel
Exactly.
it every time you use the trail. And that's the beauty
Exactly.
about an event like yours. And we'll get into the Four Seasons in a little bit, because it is on the trail and how you utilize that. But before I do, Anna Caitlin, I want to direct the next question to you. And one thing that I was particularly blown away by was your event last year because you did basically a format switch in that it went from a luncheon to a nighttime gala. And I've seen very few organizations do that successfully. And you all really did set a gold standard for that. So, talk a little bit about how you did that shift and what advice you would give to an organization looking to shift maybe from a luncheon to a gala.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of legwork that actually goes into that just because if you just think about the ambiance of a morning gala versus an evening gala, it's a different thing. I mean, a morning is more casual, and then an evening is more, serious almost. So I think what happened was during COVID, there was a limit on how many people could be at the events. So we actually, 3 years ago, had two events. We had one at night and one in the morning, both outside. And that was a lot. That's two events. That's a little much. And so then, like the one you attended was a morning event, and we just kind of thought, the evening is just a better environment to make this like a more marquee event. And that's what it had previously been at different times. But to give advice to someone else who was looking to make that switch, I would just make sure that the space that you're going to put it in is an intentional space. I mean, we're fortunate to have the Four Seasons. That's beautiful in the morning or night. But just thinking about other galas that I've been to, you just got to transform the feel of the event and be really mindful of that.
Absolutely. And taking your guests along with the journey with you, and they show up for you in the day and they show up with you at night. And that was what was really cool about seeing that format switch, was seeing how many familiar faces you all were able to get to move to the night format from the day or the evening format from the day format. And that was just so cool to see. And Madeline, we talked about the Four Seasons. I wanted to get that piece in there because I think that was an critically important piece, to tee up about the Four Seasons. So talk a little bit about how you all utilize the entire Four Seasons grounds because you all do a really good job highlighting it. It almost feels like the Four Seasons grounds is almost an extension of the trail, the way you all execute it.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of different ways that we use the Four Seasons grounds. Right when you walk outside, we like to set up all of the silent auction items so people can really see everything right when they get there, kind of take a look around because obviously it's pretty easy as soon as you start sitting down and chit-chatting that you kind of forget um what the items are, and that's such an important revenue generator of the event. And then also we have all the tables set up under the live oaks, and then they face the trail, which is so nice because you see the trail in the background. And then we also have a stage where kind of all of the action takes place, all the speakers are, and we come up and the auctioneer is up there as well. So we definitely utilize the space as best we can. And this year we're hoping to, even add a few other things. So stay tuned and see what else comes
I
up.
I can't wait to see it. But what I love about that is because they're facing the trail, they're getting to see what their money goes to.
Yes,
And it,
exactly.
it could be someone running by with their dog. It could be a couple getting engaged. Like I've seen all those things happen on the trail, and
Yeah.
and how cool that they get to kind of watch that, and they've seen themselves doing it themselves. And I think that's just a
Yeah.
cool way to get it, to get it to connect. And Anna Caitlin, I'd love for you to elaborate on one thing. And I thought this was such a genius thing, and I don't think I've ever seen it at a gala before. And that was you all incorporate sweetheart tables for two in the midst of rounds of 8 and 10. And it is just so thoughtful and so clever. So talk a little bit about how the concept of that comes up and how you just so seamlessly blend them in. Because they didn't, usually when you have a sweetheart table, you think of wedding and it's like this one couple and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Mhm.
This so seamlessly blended into everything that unless you were like fully paying attention, you were like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. It just really did blow me away.
I completely agree with you. I actually think the two tops or the sweetheart tables are our most prime real estate, we'll call it. Because what we do is we kind of, to make them feel natural, we put them towards the front and kind of edge them around some of the front tables and just kind of place them in there. And they are absolutely lovely because I mean, think you can think about who they lend themselves to. Like an example last year is two close friends moved to Austin. Well, they're not going to be able to put together a tin top, right? But they want to get involved and they want their business to be involved. So by offering a two top, they can get a table and be there and have no stress about it. Another example is maybe someone's part-time in Austin. Well, the same thing. They might not want to put a tin top together. So I think there's a lot of freedom in the two tops. It looks elegant. It's interesting. It can be low maintenance in a way. It can be a premium. I mean, you can really like as an organization, you could do a lot of different marketing with the two tops, but we utilize them as just a great option to be more flexible and again, I think some older couples too might not necessarily who are retired might not want to put together a tin top. So there's just infinite use cases. And I was like, can we squeeze some more two tops in there this year?
No, seriously.
I mean, I think they're the best. Like even with my husband, I'm like, oh, why don't we just get a two top? We can sit together, it's just fun, really focus on the auctioneer.
Absolutely. And I mean, those were all really, there were several things in there that I just never even thought about before about part-time residents who, or they just want to get involved because they heard about it and they're new to
Right.
the city. It allows them to meet people too, because that way they're focused on just enjoying themselves and meeting people as opposed to worrying about the other guests that they have to get to their table, corral
Exactly.
them in. They're texting them, I'm running 20 minutes late. It's like, oh boy, well, get here when all those things that go along with hosting whether you're hosting a gala table or hosting dinner party at your home, you're very, very familiar with. So I love that. And then speaking of people, Madeline, I want to direct the next question to you, and that's about event committees. And I love your event committee because of the energy that it brings and a wide range of people. But
Mhm.
talk about how important an event committee is in helping you and Anna Caitlin execute your vision of the event and what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. Our event committee is honestly everything. It's a rock star group of people. And my favorite thing about it is everyone has such different backgrounds and brings really unique, like their own special gifts to our group. And it's so impressive. So, I mean, in order just to execute something on this scale, you really need a lot of help, especially everyone's on a volunteer basis. This isn't our full-time jobs. And so with the committee, we had so many new people kind of ask about joining after last year's gala, and we were really excited about that. And like some of the backgrounds of people, some folks are in marketing for really big brands and they understand how to engage an audience. And now we're kind of having like little fireside chats with this one person on our committee who is just a wealth of knowledge. And we're all just taking notes and learning how to, engage with different magazines and publishers and all the different things. Other people on the committee have, great connections. Maybe it's the real estate world, maybe it's the tech world, PE, VC world, bringing in all of those new folks, and they're so happy to be a part of it. Um, a lot of the folks on the committee are such go-getters with getting silent auction items, live auction items, all of those things. It truly takes a village to build out a live and silent auction, as I'm sure you've seen. We have always have a great lineup every year, and so we have the committee working on those things. And then with these happy hours and cocktail hours we've been doing, the committee has been reaching out to all of their networks to get those people in the room and stuff. And I think it's just so important to have a diverse group of people on your committee who all kind of bring different ideas, different skill sets, all those things. And I really think that's how we've been so successful.
Absolutely. And the next question I'm going to direct to Anna Caitlin. And I think one of the X factor things, and this is something there's a lot of seven-figure galas that come to me asking this question, and you all do it so well, Anna Caitlin. That is, you have a committee of lots of people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that most organizations would kill for a strong, youthful event committee. So, what advice would you give to an organization looking to attract more donors and committee members that are in their 20s, their 30s, and their 40s?
I couldn't agree with you more. The importance of that is infinite. I mean, you need generations to carry on the importance. So I think that really starts with education about your cause and also just giving people the opportunity. I think sometimes you think, oh, people in their 20s aren't ready to take on a philanthropic endeavor. But I mean, a lot of our committees in their 20 and 30s. And so had someone waited till I was 35 to ask me to join a committee, that's when I would have been joining the committee. But someone just happened to ask Madeline and I at a younger age. So really it's just seeking out an individual. Madeline and I were very intentional. We have coffee with people. We learn about their background. It's not like we're just walking around looking for young people to join. You're strategic about it and use your network. And it's something that every single philanthropy should definitely think about. And another way you can do it is through a young professionals committee. And I mean, that's just another option that I've seen at other places. At the trail, we really do just, invite a young crowd to actually be on the official committee. And it's just worked out wonderfully for us. And we really enjoy that. And then one more little strategic thing that kind of goes back to your previous question that I think it's important to note is that when Madeline and I kind of came on the trail committee, we realized that the board and the Trail Conservancy girls who are actually full-time employees in the committee were all very fragmented. So we kind of have brought those three groups together. And I just wanted to mention this since this is how to make a philanthropy organization better. I think it's really easy for everyone to be on their islands. But I have to say, Madeline and I, like when we sat down, we found out who was president of the board. We called and got a meeting with him, and we were like, you need to come to our events. And then we work super closely with the girls who actually work at the trail. And like those three bodies coming together is so important.
Absolutely. Cohesion is so key because, you can tell when an event at an event, I can always tell when an organization is fully aligned. And if you've got people in their own orbits, that's difficult to do. So it's great that you recognize that and you really work to bring the whole organization together so that people aren't in their own orbits. And that's something that I see a lot in nonprofit organizations, and I definitely don't see with you all. So I really appreciate you bringing that piece up. And Madeline, I'd love for you to share a little bit about what people can expect at this year's Twilight on Trail. Anything that you can tease. I know that you can't give away the farm, but tease a few things that people can expect when they go this year.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first, even before the gala, for those that have purchased tables, we are going to do another exciting event in the fall, kind of a final kickoff before the gala. And last year, that was an incredible party on Lake Austin. The sun setting in the background, kind of everyone was there. And so that was great. So if you have purchased your table, we hope to see you at that event. But yes, night of, there are so many exciting things. That we kind of have on the docket. There'll be a multi-course dinner that the Four Seasons always puts together, which is so impressive because I know sometimes with gala food people roll their eyes, but ours is actually quite good. And we'll do a happy hour before, and we like to do the silent auction kind of throughout the night. So many exciting new additions to the silent auction. This year, we've gotten some fabulous companies involved, especially local Austin companies, companies that all of you, I'm sure, know very well that'll be donating items for folks. And then also, we will have our marquee speaker, so we'll keep that a secret for now, but we're really excited for that. And then the main attraction, the live auction, there'll be some exciting trips that people can bid on, all of those things. But most importantly, I mean, it's just a time for people to mingle underneath the beautiful twinkling trees during the happy hour and afterwards as well. So there's a lot of exciting things, and that's what I can tell you for now.
That's fantastic. And you teased an awful lot there. And Anna Caitlin, do you have anything that you're looking forward to this year that Madeline may have missed? And it's okay if you don't. And she got it all there.
She definitely covered a lot of bases, but I guess I can say we might just be rolling out a what we call a green carpet this year. So we plan to bring in some, Austin is just full of really interesting, exciting people, and we're lucky that some of these bigger names in Austin might be in attendance at our gala. So we are just really having a lot of good energy around the event, and exciting new media opportunities will be present as well.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Bringing the glamour with the green. I love it.
That's
Yes.
right.
Well, I know we're coming up on time here, and I'd love for each of you to answer this. So, Anna Caitlin, you can go first, and then Madeline, you can have the last word. And that is, what advice would you give to an organization looking to plan their first gala?
That is such a wonderful question. I mean, I think intentionality is what I see as being the most key thing in anything you do in life. So just having those conversations, defining a clear purpose, practical things like securing a venue, having a mission statement, and just making sure that you have the right people around you. And also, anything in life, don't force it. You can have this amazing idea, and maybe you're like, it has to happen 2026. It might not be meant for 2026, it might be meant for 2027. So my just general advice would be intentional, don't force it. Just stay passionate, and the right people will be attracted to you.
That's really great advice, and especially the piece of having to implement right away or not. It may not be right for that audience that year, and it's
Yeah,
okay if it's not. You can just do it for the next year.
for sure.
And I love that
Yeah,
piece of
no,
advice. And
definitely echo everything that Anna Caitlin said. I also think it's just so important to have a great group of driven people around you that can help you because we're all leaning on each other all of the time. And in addition to that, just making sure you really are connected with the community that would be the audience of this, and just like Anna Caitlin said, if maybe you don't have that immediately, maybe you can plan happy hours along the way, just little ways to get that community more engaged. And finally, just having like a ton of organization around the event. You have to be kind of very organized on what goes on. It's like planning a wedding practically. I mean, there's all kinds of different things throughout the year, things that you have to stay on track for. And we're an extremely organized team, which I'm proud to say. We have our monthly meetings, and then we have usually smaller meetings with the co-chairs and the executive team of the trail. And we have to keep that all tracked pretty diligently. We're constantly emailing the entire committee, making sure everyone has the links, all the documents are updated because if you don't, I mean, the silent and live auctions would get totally lost in the wayside. And we really try to help the new committee members as well. So we're sending them templates that are helpful. We are making sure that they feel super comfortable with the mission of the trail and they understand that and they can kind of explain everything to potential sponsors. And we tell everyone there's never a dumb question. Text me, call me, email me. I will help you write your email. And we just want the committee to feel so comfortable with outreach and, no one's gonna get their hand slapped for everything. We're all, contributing to a great cause. So at the end of the day, like there's nothing, no wrong anyone can do. And I think that's been such a strong point of our committee.
That was a great answer. And I really appreciated the diligence and care you talked about with new committee members because
Mhm.
usually someone becomes an event chair because they start being a committee member. So you want that first experience with them to be as
Yep,
positive as possible so you can find that next
exactly.
gala chair.
Exactly.
That was fantastic. Well, you both are just so skilled at what you do, and I'm so thrilled and impressed with everything I've seen with the Trail Conservancy and Twilight on the Trail. And Madeline, Anna, Caitlin, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today. This was really a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much, Rob. It was truly our pleasure.
Yes, thanks, Rob. We're so excited to do this. And thank you so much for your support too.
Absolutely and always. And Twilight on the Trail, benefiting the Trail Conservancy, will be held on October 26, 2025 at the Four Seasons in Austin, Texas. For more information, please visit thetrailconservancy.org. And that will do it for this episode of Fun and Fundraising. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, reminding you to keep it fun, keep it interesting, and your guests will have a great time. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.